What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the DFS Dose YouTube channel. I'm Ben Hauver, and today I'm bringing you the Week 3 edition of my Cash Pool preview. Cash Pool is a weekly article that I write, which you can find on the dfsdose.com. Link will be in the description. The article is published around 5 p.m. Eastern every Friday afternoon and is updated throughout the weekend, with the final update coming around noon Eastern on Sunday, 30 minutes after inactives are announced and an hour before lock. If you wouldn't mind, drop a like and subscribe to the channel. We upload multiple videos per week, such as this cash game preview, as well as my podcasting cohort, Joey Carrion's Tournament Breakdown, which comes out every Wednesday. You can find that on the channel right now. The DFS Dose is also primarily a podcast. New episodes drop every Thursday that preview the upcoming NFL slate, and then again on Monday mornings, recapping the action from the previous day and highlighting mine and Joey's key takeaways. That show is available in audio form on every major podcast platform, including Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, and wherever else you listen to podcasts. Now that we've gotten all of the plugs out of the way, let's dive right into Week 3. Starting off at the quarterback position, and this is not something that you're going to hear me say often, but I think that this week we simply don't even consider paying down. In my estimation, well over 60% of the field will be playing one of the three guys you see here on my list, and this is a spot where we eat the chalk. In general, I do advocate paying down for quarterback in cash games. You know, you can probably find 20 points even on a week like this without paying all the way up to 6,800 or more. But truthfully, I just don't know that 20 points is going to get the job done this week. Dak Prescott and Russell Wilson are going head to head in a game with a 55.5 point total. I think the over is in play here. These defenses are simply not going to be able to keep up. Wilson and the Seahawks are cooking, and the Cowboys might have the most talented offense in the NFL right now. With that being said, Kyler Murray is the guy I'm going to highlight here. The way that the Cardinals are playing right now, I would not be surprised to see Murray's price continue to elevate and potentially reach that 8K range that we saw Lamar Jackson live in last year. Arizona's playing fast right now, and they're going to get a ton of plays off against a Detroit Lions defense that is embarrassingly bad right now. And frankly, I don't see how this under-talented, primarily man coverage scheme that Patricia's going to roll out has any chance of slowing down the Cardinals on offense. Murray is averaging 16.9 fantasy points on the ground alone through the first 2 weeks of 2020. His floor is incredible and his ceiling is sky high. This team has an implied team total above 30, and with the return of their best offensive weapon, Kenny Golladay, the Lions have a decent shot to keep this game at least close enough that Murray and the Cardinals will have to keep their foot on the gas for 4 full quarters. Murray is a surefire top 3 option at the position, and while the discount off of Prescott, $400, and Wilson, $500, is small, that salary could come in handy, and you're not realistically sacrificing anything to get there because Murray is a fantastic play. Moving on to the running back position, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know what type of vibe DraftKings was trying to cultivate with these prices. I mean, Miles Sanders, 6,400, coming off of a week 2 return that he saw 83% of the running back touches, had a 17% market share of the team targets in Philly, and now gets a home matchup against the Bengals team that just allowed over 200 yards to Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Stone lock. Kenyon Drake at 6K flat is going against a Lions team that graciously allowed Aaron Jones to have his way with them for over 200 yards last week. Now Drake is a home favorite running back, averaging 20 touches per game through 2 weeks on a team with a 30.25 implied team total. Okay, well, now DK has given us 2 stone locks. There are a lot of ways you can go with the third running back position or the flex on DraftKings, and the one that I'm going to highlight here is Jonathan Taylor. I'm not totally sure how popular Taylor is going to be in cash games this week, but however popular he is, I'm willing to say that it's not popular enough. I think there's a decent amount of people who are going to want to pay down for Mike Davis following Christian McCaffrey's injury. And, I certainly won't be one of those people. Make sure you check out the full Cash Pool article to read why I will be fading Mike Davis in week 3. Other people, they're going to pay up for Zeke Elliott, which I don't mind in a vacuum. But when you can save $1,300 to go down to Taylor, I just don't really see the need to roll Zeke in cash games. In week 2, Taylor forcefully dispelled any thoughts of a committee with Nyheim Hines out-touching him 28-1. He's seen pass game involvement, red zone usage, and the Colts have a top 5 implied team total on the slate. They're massive home favorites, 9.5 points to be exact, facing a Jets team that frankly is crumbling in on itself right now. There may be some people out there who are hesitant to click on Taylor's name after all he did see see a significant price bump up to $7K after being only $5,700 last week, but he is still too cheap in week 3, and I think it's pretty simple in terms of being a plug and play, in my opinion. The wide receiver position in week 3 is where we have some options, some paths to differentiation. I think there are a lot of guys in consideration here, a lot of guys in fantastic spots, and guys at all different price points that you can consider for cash games. DeAndre Hopkins is in the same mouth-watering spot that Drake and Murray are, which I've already discussed, and truthfully, from where I'm at in my process right now, I'm leaning towards a cash game fade on Hopkins, and that's making me very nervous. I think that people who are opting to pay down to Mike Davis for the salary savings build will be doing so they can fit Hopkins in, and I would expect a decent percentage of the field to have Hopkins in their cash games this week, justifiably so. He's a fantastic play. Then, we look at this mid-tier, this range of players from Amari Cooper, 6,500, DK Metcalf, 6,500, and Tyler Lockett, 6,400. This group for me is incredibly difficult to sort through. Each of them are guys that we could view as high floor, high ceiling options, and I would be comfortable with any 3 of them as my most expensive cash game wide receiver. If I'm being completely honest with you guys, I'm still sorting out my thoughts on that specific trio, and you'll be able to read where I come down on that decision when the full cash pool article is published on the DFSDose.com. Deontay Johnson and CeeDee Lamb both got price bumps, but both are still underpriced in my opinion. However, the guy that I'm going to highlight here will come as no surprise to anybody that follows me on Twitter, anybody who listens to the DFS Dose podcast or knows my quote-unquote brand, and that's going to be Darius Slayton, aka Godius, aka Young Slay. At 4,900, Darius Slayton is a guy that I feel really good about in week 3. The 49ers defense has been absolutely ravaged by injuries. Richard Sherman, Nick Bosa, Solomon Thomas, Dee Ford, all of these guys are going to miss the game, and the Giants are going to be without Sterling Shepard and Saquon Barkley. With an unimpressive combination of Dion Lewis and the newly signed Devonta Freeman in the backfield, I'm expecting the Giants to lean on the passing game in a spot where we should see a target share that remains relatively consolidated between Slayton, Golden Tate, and Evan Ingram. Tate gets the biggest direct boost from Shepard's absence, but Slayton has really asserted himself as the go-to alpha in this receiving corps, and sometimes, you really just don't need to overthink things. Are we going to play Golden Tate, the 32-year-old brittle-boned slot receiver who's been on 3 teams since 2018? Or are we going to play the 23-year-old athletic sophomore breakout who's a downfield nightmare for opposing corners and dropped a nice 30-point DK bomb as recently as week 1 in a tougher matchup than he's got right now? I don't know. Tough choice, but I think that I'm going to be leaning Godius here. Finally, everybody's favorite position, tight end. Last week, I highlighted Logan Thomas, and this week, we're running it back. DFS Dose co-founder Joey Carrion has been referring to Thomas as the 2020 Darren Waller for months now, and while his production hasn't been there quite yet, the opportunity certainly has. Thomas is currently 3rd in the NFL in tight end targets behind Travis Kelce and Darren Waller. Good company to be in, I would say. And he's got all the marks of a player about to break out. He was on the field for 91% of snaps in week 2. He's tied for Terry McLaurin in terms of the team lead in targets. He's underpriced, only $3,700. And there have been rumblings, perhaps some of them even started on the DFS Dose podcast, that Cleveland may in fact be the 2020 tight end flowchart. In 2019, Arizona was that team. It didn't matter who the player was, if they were a tight end and they were facing the Cardinals, we played them and we sailed to the money. Now, I don't want to say with 100% certainty after only a 2-week sample size that Cleveland is that team, but they did get torched by tight end in back-to-back weeks, first by Mark Andrews, who dropped 2 touchdowns on their head in week 1, and then week 2, they showed little to no resistance to the combination of CJ Uzomah and Drew Sample. With Uzomah now out for the year and Joey Burrow's propensity for targeting the middle of the field, I think Sample at 3,500 is a pretty decent pivot, but in cash games, I think we just go Logan Thomas and we do so with confidence. Thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate it. Make sure you check out the full cash pool article on the DFSDose.com. I write up each and every single player that you saw on the screen today, as well as give my thoughts on positional strategy for the week, as well as the players I'm considering fading in cash. Drop a like, subscribe to the video. I do appreciate it, and I'll be back with the week 4 edition of the Cash Pool Preview next week on Friday. Stay tuned.